Welcome to Kevin Deal Photography, where I take you on my journey through photography. On today's episode, we're going to be doing an in-depth review of the Godox ML150Bi. Welcome to today's episode. If you're not familiar with Kevin Deal Photography, we do gear reviews, tips, techniques, and tutorials, and sometimes we dive into film. If any of that sounds appealing to you, click the subscribe button below. For all of you who are back to Kevin Deal Photography, welcome back. And for all of you where this is your first time here at the beginning of every episode, I ask for donations to BIG, which is an organization that helps intellectually disabled adults adapt to jobs in the real world. But to the subject of today's episode, Godox has been releasing lights at a breakneck pace. It's been hard to keep up. A little less than a year ago, I did a review of the ML150Bi light that ended up being pretty impressive for what it did. Well, Godox has decided to kick it up a notch, 1.5 times a notch to be exact, as they sent me their ML150Bi for evaluation. It kind of has a Hasselblad 500 type body, so that'll be interesting to test out. At first glance, the light is pretty small, but its true footprint depends on how you use it. We'll get more into that later. So let's explore what we have here. It's a box style light with a mini Bowens style mount. It also has a lens that with a quarter turn can transition from flood to spot. There's also a plate on the back which allows you to connect a Godox branded battery so you can be more portable with this unit. And for those of you in the V-mount ecosystem like me, I'm happy to report they also give you this adapter to adapt your V-mount battery, and that's how I'm going to do my portable testing in today's episode. But before we dive into that testing, let's first go over the specs. The Godox ML150Bi is a 150 watt bicolor LED video mono light. It comes with a lens to transition from spot to flood. Its maximum output unmodified is 5459 lux at 1 meter. With the included lens, that bumps up to 34,398 as a flood and 61,054 with a spot. Its color temperature range is 2800 to 6500 Kelvin. Its CRI rating and TLCI rating are both 96. This fixture features both onboard and app control via Bluetooth using the free Godox Lite app. The fixture comes with a V-mount battery adapter included. This fixture is also compatible with Godox branded batteries. This fixture comes with 11 built-in effects. It also comes with an included hard zippered storage case. This fixture comes with a lighting stand adapter that can hold an umbrella. Its dimensions are 4.5 by 3.6 by 3.6 inches or 114 by 91 by 91 millimeters. It comes in at a weight of 1.7 pounds or 770 grams, and the base model with the AC adapter only comes in at a street price of $259 US. All right, with those specs out of the way, hopefully that'll give you a good idea of how we're going to set things up for this episode. But now let's start with our first real world test. Okay, so I should be pretty dark right now. There's a little bit of sun catching my hat from the window, but I'm pretty dark. So I'm going to go into the Godox Lite app. I'm going to navigate to my M150Bi. I'm going to click on this. I can go in, turn it on right here, and now there it is at 100%, and my ISO right now is at 320. My f-stop is at 6.3. So that's pretty cool. It's at 6,500 Kelvin right now, but I can of course change that. So right now it's at 2,800 Kelvin, 3,200 Kelvin, 4,300 Kelvin, 5,600 Kelvin, which of course is daylight, and then 6,500 Kelvin. Now I do have a little bit of sun hitting my hat, so I'm gonna move this just a little bit so I'm out of the sun. There we go. So this is just a static shot of me. That's at 6.3. Now, if I go to my camera's native ISO, which is actually 640, so that's good. What that tells me is that even though I'm a little overexposed, the light is bright enough to handle any sort of indoor situation. Now, the bigger question here is, how bright does this light get with this umbrella modifier when I have the outdoors behind me? So if I'm standing in the shade, but I don't want to necessarily completely blow out the background behind me, how will this light do? And we're gonna find that out right now. So with my settings the same, it should be no surprise that when I open this door, it is completely blown out. So let me put an ND filter on my camera so I can actually get that outdoor ambience perfectly exposed. Now you can see right here that the light is simply not bright enough with the umbrella. This is my face right up to the light and is definitely not bright enough to match that outdoor ambience. So I took the umbrella off, as you can see right here. Now you can see it unmodified and it actually seems it's about bright enough. But with the optic on, you're gonna see that it burns my eyes and I really couldn't use this in a practical talking head situation. So now that we've tested that out, let's test out the effects. So you have 11 built-in effects. Let's control those from the app, and we're gonna start with the paparazzi flash and then move on to lightning, as you can see right here. Moving on to cloudy, which is just a static, cool color temperature like overcast. Then we move on to broken bulb, which is just an intermittent warm flicker. Moving on to television, you're gonna see some random flickers, both kind of cool and warmer color temperatures. I accidentally skipped candle and went straight to fire. They're basically the same, but fire is a little faster. Moving on to firework, you can see it's just an explosion. It's kind of like being at a fireworks show. That's pretty straightforward. Moving on to explosion, it definitely makes an explosion-like effect with a lot of distance in between the explosions. Here is welding. I've never welded, but I guess that's what welding looks like. And then we move on to SOS. So that's pretty much the summary of the effects. Now let's do a bi-color static photography session with a model that I work with here locally in Austin, and we'll see how well the ML150Bi can do with photography. So bouncing it off of V-flat actually produced some really great pictures. Now, let's see how well this guy can do in a remote YouTube studio scenario. Okay, so I'm testing out the ML150Bi in a talking head situation. I have a 16mm lens on right now. I'm running 30 frames per second, so I'm at about 1/60th with my shutter speed. I have the power right now only at 13%. My ISO is at 640. A lot of you shoot log. Your base log might be around 800. So this is f5, ISO 640 with the light at 13%, and it has an umbrella. So you can definitely pull off a talking head segment like you're seeing here in my hotel. With this light, it definitely passes that test with flying colors. But I also have the app, so I can go in and I can change the color temperature. So right now I'm way too blue, but this light over here is kind of in that high 2000, maybe high 3000 color temperature. So let's start at 3200. I would say that I could probably go a little bit cooler on myself to about, I'd say 3800 Kelvin. Right there, I think that looks pretty good. So that is one of the advantages of having a bicolor light, is you can adapt to your ambient environment. So I'm gonna say that if you're somebody who's considering this light for portable use, the fact that I'm at 13% in my hotel means that it can absolutely run off a battery. I wanna say you can get up to about 2/3, 3/4 power on a battery. It drops from like 150 to 95 watts. And so this will absolutely do that with a V-mount battery. So I think as a portable light, it definitely passes that test. So I think I've run enough tests on this guy. Let's stay in my hotel room on the road in Houston, and let's talk about the pros and cons of the ML150Bi. All right, so normally I do pros and cons with a teleprompter in my YouTube studio, but I happen to be traveling, so you're gonna see me look down at my phone today. I've had a chance to use this ML150Bi in both controlled environments like my studio, out in the field, outside, and here in my hotel in the outskirts of Houston. So I have a feeling I can definitely say what I like and don't like about this guy. I've tested a lot of LED lights on this channel, especially bicolor LED lights. So let's first start with the areas where I feel like they could have gotten this guy a little better. While this light does come with a mini adapter to adapt it to some modifiers, it doesn't actually come with a standard Bowens mount adapter. That is something that you're going to have to purchase in addition to this light if you want it to work with some of the most common modifiers out there on the market. I would say the biggest con of this unit is that it's not nearly as compact or affordable as it initially appears. Out of the box, the light itself is small, but once you actually use it, you're required to connect it to an AC adapter with a power brick that's nearly the same size as the unit itself, which feels kind of unnecessary. And honestly, I would have much rather they'd made the fixture a little larger and there not be a gigantic AC adapter sticking out. On the flip side, you can power it with a V-mount battery, but that comes with its own set of drawbacks. First, you're spending an additional $100, $200, or $300 plus, depending on the size of the battery, just to make this light portable. Let me show you what I like least about this guy. Now, I have this FX Lion battery right here, and I'm gonna turn the AC power off and I'm gonna use this V-mount battery. Hang tight. All right, so let me demonstrate what annoys me the most about this. I have the V-mount battery and I'm at 13% right now and I'm recording the screen. So let me turn this guy up. We're gonna keep going. We're at 50% right now, 51%. And I'm overcooked, but I wanna show you what happens with a V-mount battery when you go over a certain threshold. So I'm gonna keep turning this up. I'm at 60%, 64%, 76%. Oh, and it just shut off. But you see in the app, I can still turn this up and down and up and down and up and down. That's not fun. So it's shut down. So I gotta turn it back on. Now I'm gonna take it back down to 13%. And what that demonstrates to me is that the fixture knows it needs to shut itself off because the battery can't handle the amount of power that it's putting out. The problem is that the app still allows you to go beyond that threshold and there's no indicator where that threshold actually is. So if you're using this guy out in the field, you're gonna have to memorize what your battery can do and what percentage this can go up to when it starts to shut off. And that kind of sucks if you're using this at higher amounts. Now, I'm using it at about 15% right now and it's fine. So in the scenario where I'm in my hotel, I think I'm gonna be okay. But if I take this outside during the day and maybe set this guy up in the shade or something like that, I could very easily hit the wall on this and it would be super frustrating because every time it shuts down, you have to turn it on, scroll the wheel, and then the light comes back on at a lower power setting. And then hopefully you're able to dial it in, assuming you don't cross that threshold. And that may be the biggest con of this fixture. Another consideration is output. If you were watching this review thinking, I'm gonna get myself a 150 watt fixture with a V-mount battery, that is absolutely not the case. Now, if you're new to V-mount batteries, you need to know that when you do use a V-mount battery on a light like this, it doesn't operate at its full range. It goes down about a third. So it takes it from a 150 watt fixture down to a 95 watt fixture. Now, I know a lot of you who are seasoned in using V-mount batteries already know that, but if you're hoping to get 150 watts with a V-mount battery out of this guy, you're gonna consider that a con. Ultimately, I feel like the very things that make this fixture appealing can be misleading to some. It's compact with without the power adapter, but once you add the adapter, it effectively doubles the size. The same happens when you add a battery. Because of that, I think it would have made more sense for Godox to have just made this fixture a little bigger, especially for those of you who want to use it with the AC adapter. I think all of those critiques are fair, but that doesn't mean this light doesn't make sense for certain people. So let's talk about where I feel like Godox got this fixture right. First and foremost, the light is bright and color accurate. Color reproduction is excellent, and that deserves to be highlighted. If accurate skin tones are what you're after, this fixture delivers. From a pure light quality standpoint, it performs exactly how you'd want it to. I was critical of the fact that the light doesn't ship with a Bowens adapter, but you still, at the end of the day, can adapt this to standard Bowens mounts. And that, of course, opens up a new galaxy of modifiers that are at your disposal. You can also use the umbrella. There's a little umbrella holder on the mount, which I'm using right now. And I have a Pro Photo umbrella on here, which is really cool. So there's a lot of different ways you can still connect to this light, even if you don't have a Bowens mount. And of course, keep in mind, you also have the spot and the flood optic that you can put on the front. I'm actually running this without the optic right now, and it's doing a fantastic job. I would also say that the build quality is a strong point on this guy. The construction, it feels solid and well thought out. And if you decide to commit to this as a portable LED solution, I don't see any reason why you should doubt its build quality. So it's definitely not built like a toy. It's built like a professional video light. I like that it comes with a hard case. Godox has been putting a lot of their products in pouches lately, so the fact that this guy does come with a dedicated zippered hard case is something that I welcome. I would say the onboard controls are pretty straightforward and easy to use, and if you'd rather control things from your phone, as you've already seen in this episode, you can do that. So who should buy this light? Well, I'm not in my YouTube studio right now, but if I had a few of these, I could absolutely power up my YouTube studio with just these ML150Bis and the proper modifiers. And if you're very limited on space, I could definitely highly recommend these for a situation like that. That said, I feel like this fixture would be far more compelling if it was just maybe a little bigger and didn't have crazy large accessories like this, or those Godox batteries you see online that you can buy for it, which effectively double the size of the unit. I wish there was a smarter way to get this inside the unit itself, and then maybe those of you who don't need it for portability don't have to have these gigantic AC bricks laying around your YouTube studio. But overall, I do think it is an impressive fixture for the money, and it does put out quite a bit of power for its small size. So if you're interested in picking one up, I'll leave a link in the description below. That does it for today's episode. What did you think of my review of this ML150Bi? Was it fair? Do you think I could have maybe gone into detail on one of the aspects of it? Tell me about it in the comments below. Did you buy a different fixture instead of this one? Tell me about that in the comments below. If you're a fan of this channel, I humbly ask you to click the subscribe button below. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.